We don't read and write poetry because it's cute. We read and write poetry because we are members of the human race, and the human race is full of passion. Medicine, law, business, engineering, these are noble pursuits and necessary to sustain life. But poetry, beauty, romance, love, these are what we stay alive for. Ah, so true. Dead Poets Society, released in 1989 and is directed by Peter Weir, who has also directed such films like Witness, The Truman Show, and Master and Commander. The Far Side of the World! That's a callback if I've ever seen one. And of course this movie stars the late great Robin Williams, Robert Sean Leonard, and Ethan Hawke. And this is episode 84 of Caleb Watches Movies. We are getting closer to episode 100, and today we are talking about a movie that contains my favorite quote, which is that one that I just played at the beginning of this movie review. And the reason why this is my favorite quote is because it's the thing that really inspired me to be a teacher of the theatrical arts. I mean, really, this whole film inspired me to be a professor of the arts in some capacity, but that quote I always live by, and I always say it to my students in my classes just because a lot of the students that I have in my classes, they're not theater majors. Many of them are there as nursing majors, business majors, sports medicine majors. And they're really just taking my class to fulfill a requirement that the university sets for them. You have to take so many arts electives throughout your college career. And I think the majority of them say, okay, yeah, I'll take some art classes just because my university's telling me to, so we'll just sit here, I'll take my exam, I'll take my notes, and be a good little student. But my goal in teaching, and really it derives from this movie, is to inspire the students to say, like, the arts are very important to the society that we live in. Medicine, law, business, engineering, they are absolutely necessary to sustain life, but there are other fields out there like art, poetry, theater, acting, writing. These are what you stay alive for.
But poetry, beauty, romance, love, these are what we stay alive for.
And if these things did not exist, then really there would be no reason to sustain life, because why would you want to keep on going? And my mission, my goal in my classroom really is for me to convince these students that this is important and you should take it seriously. Or at least support it when you're out on your own, running a business, running a country. Because the arts support the community so much, and if we only had some elected officials or some people in power that realize that, I think this world, at least this country, would be in a much better economical status right now. So anyway, that's my reasoning, and that is my soapbox. Now let's get to the movie review. The movie takes place at Welton Academy, which is an all-male elite prep school. All of these students come from money, and they go to this prep school so that they can get into an Ivy League school like Yale or Harvard. And throughout these students' education, they're basically being spoon-fed everything and being expected to regurgitate information. That is until Robin Williams' character, Mr. Keating, comes a-calling. He is the new English teacher here at Welton, and his goal is to inspire his students to become free thinkers. And that right there is the sign of an excellent educator. In my opinion, being a good educator is not about, spoon-feeding information to students and expecting them to regurgitate it back to you in some kind of essay or in some kind of test. No, the sign of a good educator, on top of that, is to teach students to think for themselves, or at least to find the information on their own. And then maybe, in some cases, if you've done your research, to maybe question some things, or maybe challenge authority in some way. And we see that right away in this movie with the first lesson Robin Williams gives them. They're reading the introduction in their poetry textbook, and he says, "Yup, that sucks, rip it out." And the students there are like, what are you talking about? This guy has a PhD. Doesn't he know what he's talking about? Mr. Keating is there trying to teach them that no, you don't have to agree with someone's opinion on some artistic take on poetry. And that's the wonderful and amazing thing about art. Kind of like what I'm doing right now. You can have an opinion and feel strongly about how something is amazing or something is beautiful that maybe not everyone thinks is. And vice versa. You could think that something is absolutely terrible. It doesn't touch your heart, your soul at all, but yet the majority of people think it's a masterpiece. But the amazing thing about that is when you have two different people with two different viewpoints, that opens dialogue and it opens conversation, as opposed to everyone agreeing, oh, yep, this is amazing, let's move on with our lives. That's not fun. That doesn't drive progress. Progress is driven through communication, through dialogue, through arguments sometimes. And that is just one of the many important life lessons that I think everyone needs to go through. Carpe diem, seize the day, because one day we will be food for worms, boys. Always try to look at something in a different way. Find your own strive. Don't follow the pack. Don't march in line. Find your own walk. These are lessons that I wish I would have gotten from my educators growing up when I was a kid, but unfortunately that's not how the education system works now. It's all based on, oh, how many people passed a standardized test. Now, with looking at the production value of this movie, it doesn't have like any grandiose type cinematography. The score doesn't stand out really at all. Really, this movie is purely story. But that's the wonderful thing about the film. This story is beautiful. It is incredible, and you feel for all of these students, and you want them to go on in life being free thinkers, and you're excited to see where these students go and how they're implementing the ideas of carpe diem into their everyday lives. Now, when I say that, of course, there is some beautiful cinematography with this film, particularly with the external shots. Just any of these pictures that are being taken from this countryside where this school is located, it's absolutely beautiful. And it kind of pisses you off because you know these kids just come from wealth and they're gonna go on to Ivy League schools and become doctors and lawyers and make way more money than what I'm making right now. But again, the main strength that this movie has is diving into that human spirit that looks to be its own thing, to be an individual, to have your own opinions on something. Not just be another sheep in the herd, no, to be your own person. And not just humans either. No, cats want to be their own individual people too, see? I got him in here because he kept meowing, so I'm like, well, he wants to be on camera, see? See? Right? Right. So guys, in the end, Dead Poets Society is absolutely beautiful. It's one of my favorite films of all time. It was nominated for Best Picture of 1989. It did not win it, and I think that is a crime. And I think it was a crime in the other categories that it was nominated for too. Best Leading Actor, Robin Williams. This is one of his best roles that he ever had. Best Director, I would say Peter Weir. Absolutely, this film is incredible. The only one that it won that it was nominated for was Best Original Screenplay, which, yeah, does make my heart, feel a little better, but I couldn't recommend this movie anymore. This movie is what inspired me to be a teacher and want to educate young minds. And I think every teacher strives to have that moment of the, oh, captain, my captain on top of the desks, which I've actually had a couple of times. And as an educator, I don't think there's a better feeling than when you get that respect and that acknowledgement from the young people that you are trying to inspire. So I'm gonna give Dead Poets Society 5 out of 5 Blu-rays.
All right, let's get it.
I'm just passing out 5 out of 5 Blu-rays to every movie now. But that's what I get when I'm doing a movie listing where it's all, oh, what's your favorite this or what's your favorite that? Of course they're going to get 5 out of 5 Blu-rays. Which, speaking of, next time it's probably going to be another 5 out of 5 Blu-rays because it's the first film that I ever saw in theaters. And it's not just going to get the 5 out of 5 because of that. No, this movie is absolutely amazing. It's what planted the seed inside of this brain and kind of what created all of this. And your hint for that movie would be Riff Raff, Street Rat, I don't buy that. If only they'd look closer, would they see a poor boy? No siree. They'd find out there's so much more to me. Way too obvious, I know, but that kind of came out of nowhere, and I wanted to do it. So everyone, have you seen Dead Poets Society? What did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before, you stumbled across it because of this video, please comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And when you're done commenting, please like and subscribe to my channel so you know the next time I'm posting my next movie review. So everyone, I will see you next time with the first movie that I ever saw in the movie theater. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.